Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. You can see a full moon without using a lantern. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay, it's very quite a full room today. Okay, the Honorable Dean of the Faculty of Education, Professor Nina Nurmila, PhD, our Chief of Master Study Program, Bu Bu Tati. I please, I'm pausing a bit. Okay, Bu Tati, and our today's speakers, Associate Professor Lisa J. Abendroth, from Opus College of Business, University of St. Thomas, Minneapolis, Minnesota. And then respected lecturers of Faculty of Education. I see Dr. Fifi here. And who else? Okay. Oh, yes, of course, fellow student of UIII. And yeah, Pak Yazid. Okay, Pak Yazid, it's nice to have you here. And then all participants, I welcome you to the Faculty of Education public lecture with the theme Pedagogy Audit, a tool for enhancing teaching quality and student learning outcomes. On behalf of the organizing committee, we would like to thank you for your presence and participation today. Allow me to introduce myself. My name is M. Ridwan Sutisna. I am PhD student, batch 4, class of 2025, and I will be your moderator for today's session. To formally begin our program, it is our great honor to invite the Dean of the Faculty of Education to deliver her opening remarks. Please, for Professor Nina Nurmila, the time is yours.
Thank you, Ridwan, for moderating this session. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, Lisa and Robert, and all of you. Fayazid, nice to see you all. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin, wassalatu wassalamu ala Muhammadin Sayyidil Mursalin, wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in amma ba'du. First, I would like to welcome Lisa and Robert to officially welcome, because they have been here for sometime almost your return time, to the US. It's very short visit, but what I heard from our conversation just now, they both have a good time here in Indonesia, and I hope you could come back to us again in whatever program that you have. This is your first time to visit Indonesia, and I hope that you have enjoyed Jogja, and I hope that you both of you can enjoy Bali after that before returning to Minnesota. Yeah, thank you for the lovely presence. I think I'm really honored that you remember to bring that to me. Yeah, so as you know that. Associate Professor Lisa J. Abendroth. I hope I don't mistakenly spell your name. She comes here under the program Fulbright Specialist. So Fulbright is very well known, prestigious scholarships. I hope you can also apply one day. Yeah. Uh, because it is very competitive scholarship. I think Ibu Tati also one of the recipients of Fulbright scholarship for her master, in Columbia University, and the aim of Fulbright is very noble. It was established in 1946 after the World War II. So in order to counter the chaotic nature at that time, William J. Fulbright, the founder, would like to increase mutual understanding, and fostering peaceful relations between the people in America and non-Americans, So I think it's what Lisa did here by visiting us at Triple IU is like contradictory very much with what what the president of America did today by uh, starting the war to Iran. I hope the war can be ended soon. But despite of this catastrophe, well, Fulbright still can make it happen that Lisa and her husband to visit us at Triple IU to share her many expertise. Yeah, especially on today's topic. Pedagogy audit, yeah, a tool for enhancing teaching quality and student learning outcomes. Yeah, well, I myself, the recipients of Fulbright scholarship, I received Fulbright scholarship twice. The first time was in 2000. I was visiting researcher at Temple University, Philadelphia for 6 months. And then the second one is longer time in 2008 until 2009 at the University of Redlands, South California, as a Fulbright scholar in residence. That's the scholar in residence is the name that we pick for our fellowship also. Yeah, so it was nice that Fulbright also support the ticket of my husband. So the second time I went to America, we bring our family, yeah, my husband and my two children. It was lovely that I could visit America. So by this kind of exchange, when Fulbright can give funding for the lecture like Associate Professor Abendroth, yeah, to share her expertise. So thereby we develop interest, yeah, and collaboration, future collaboration. Because in Indonesian language, tak kenal maka tak sayang. We will not love each other if we don't love each other, yeah. Uh, So I will be looking forward to listening to your speech. But before I end my speech, I would like to quote, I think, two important quotes from William J. Fulbright. Yeah. The first one is, education is a slow moving but powerful force. Yeah. You might have learned from Pak Amih Al-Humami's course, yeah, in Education and Society, how education can make you improve your status into your middle class. Yeah, when you have PhD, you become a lecturer like at Triple IU, you become a middle class. Yeah, like Ibu Tati, Bu Destina, Bu Vivi. I think you have earned a lot from Triple IU, and that's increase your status into your middle class. But here, the William J. Fulbright continue. His quote is that it might not be fast enough or strong enough to save us from catastrophe, but it is the strongest force available for that purpose. So education can make or improve the peaceful nature of the relationship between two countries, for example. And then the second quote that I would like to tell you is that the essence of intercultural education is the acquisition of empathy, the ability to see the world as others see it. So this is to improve empathy. Yeah, by knowing each other, we can be empathetic with each other. Yeah. So there's the great things about Fulbright and also the scholarship it offers to improve multicultural exchange and educational exchange among American with other countries. I think that's all from me. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you very much, Prof. Nina, for your inspiring and insightful opening remarks and adding some other quotes to our dictionary. Education is slow moving but powerful force. Okay, that's a bold quote. And then, ladies and gentlemen, it is now my honor to introduce our distinguished speaker for today. Associate Professor Lisa Abendroth is a leader and transformative change agent in the field of business, technology, and social impact. She is the founder of the Business in Digital World initiative at the Opus College of Business. She has played a pivotal role in redirecting the college strategy and response to market demands, including opening an online program. Yes, correct. And she is getting PhD from Duke University, and according to her LinkedIn public profile, also graduated from Wharton School and University of Pennsylvania, both with magna cum laude. Wow. And she's also dedicated to involve in many organizations such as the Minnesota Technology Associations, Women Leader for the World, How Women Lead, Girls Who Code. Wow, you're coding also. Oh,
I just coach them in how
oh,
to do the business plan part of it.
okay, and others organization. Okay, and then this personal information. She loves exploring diverse cultures. She already to Jogja and then tomorrow going to Bali. Enjoying live music. Bali is the coolest thing. And kayaking at her cabin in Minnesota. I hope you're also enjoying kayaking in our campus.
I didn't get to go kayaking.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe still yet today.
Yeah, we have kayaking.
I've seen.
Where is Zaki? Zaki is not here. Zaki
No.
should ask you to kayaking in our campus.
He has a big exam tomorrow.
Okay. Okay. And then Lisa has also many accomplishments. I will only mention few most honorable. The first one, as she is coming to Indonesia today, she is chosen for the 2024 to 2027 Fulbright Specialist to lead digital transformation initiative in emerging global economics. And then this is very nice, securing $3.4 million. Wow, that's a lot. Grant to equip business leader with essential skills for executing effective and responsible digital transformation strategies. Oh, and then this is I also already mentioned, launching an innovative online program and pivoting to specialized shorter offerings to adapt to evolving market demands at the university. With her expertise and long-standing contribution and recognition in educations, we are truly honored to have her with us today to share her insight on the pedagogy audit, a tool for enhancing teaching quality and student learning outcomes. Without further ado, we shall now proceed to the main session. The presentation will approximately last 1 hour and conclude at 2 o'clock, followed by a question and answer question. For the rest of the session, I invite Associate Professor Lisa Abendroth. The time is yours, please.
Thank you. Terima kasih. So I tend to be a walker, so I'm going to walk around a little bit for this one. I hope you're all okay with that. It's what I do. Thank you for the fabulous introduction, and thank you for the warm welcoming remarks. It has been a wonderful 2 weeks here at your campus. So while I was here, they announced I also have a new title, believe it or not. We now have our first endowed professor focused on teaching, and I am the first professor. So I am now it's a mouthful. The Hoffman Melrose Toro, that's the donor, endowed professor of marketing innovation with a focus on what we are calling the Opus way of teaching for the Opus College of Business. See how this works. Awesome. I found this, well, I got this from Pak Lukman yesterday, and I thought it was just a fitting picture to share. So I've been here 2 weeks, and I want to just thank all of those. This is my last talk. So Pak Yazid for organizing this, Bunina for all your work helping to collaborate with him to help make this possible. Bu Dewi, I would be lost without you. You make it all possible and you do it with a smile. And I don't think Rivaldi is here, but thanks to him too. But everybody, I think when my husband arrived last week, the thing I said is the people here are what makes me smile. And when I teach the students, the level of engagement, the level of curiosity, and the really thoughtful comments and reflection on how to use what you're learning in the world has just been really lovely and inspiring. So 10 talks ended up being 8 days because of the Friday being work from anywhere. So I'm just going to hit on some of the themes that tie into how we got to today's presentation. So we started out at the beginning with innovative education and business impact, navigating the digital divide, and then dug deep into graduate program innovation and strategic planning, including some budgeting, which is never my favorite topic, but a very necessary one, and marketing. Then I did 4 and 5 were with talking about a new digital Islam curriculum and ways to do curriculum innovation. And then I spoke with the digital Islam class on emerging technology. And that was, I think every time I interact with students, it's a highlight. I was in leadership for a number of years and I went back to teaching because that's what gives me energy. Then curriculum design, marketing, and admissions, more kind of talk with leadership. Preparing leaders in a business world, that was for the economics and business group. Capacity building on intercultural competence with staff and students from across the university. Marketing thinking for educational leaders in Pak Lukman's class. And then today, the pedagogy audit for teaching quality. And they've all been long titles, so I've shortened them. But just there's a nice flow in this in talking about curriculum innovation and student experience and promoting programs, the outcomes of programs benefiting others, and benefit just the whole piece of it. So this is kind of a nice concluding one to kind of say, how do we look back with a tool to see how we're doing and assess our impact? So we've already mentioned some of the pieces about my background. The Melrose Toro Endowed Professorship is going to be focusing on teaching innovation more so, but the role that I held as, nope, that doesn't work up there, Associate Dean for Graduate Program Innovation, and also some work I did on pedagogy development with as faculty director for our part-time MBA. But curriculum innovation and pedagogical innovation are kind of what gets me excited. So I wanted to start with a little bit about my university, in part to draw parallels with your university. You might say, okay, well, you're from a university that is, it looks Catholic. We're actually in the Catholic intellectual tradition, which means we're not directly under the Catholic Church. And this is a Muslim university, so it's or Islamic university. So you might say, where's the similarities? But I want to just highlight a couple similarities. So inspired by the Catholic intellectual tradition, the University of St. Thomas educates students to be morally responsible leaders who think critically, act wisely, and work skillfully to advance the common good. Okay. When I look at our convictions, how we bring that forward, the pursuit of truth, the value of intellectual inquiry is a lifelong habit. Don't worry, I'm not going to read them all word for word. But academic excellence, I want to hit on. We create culture among faculty, students, and staff that recognizes the power of ideas and rewards rigorous thinking. Faith and reason. So for us, it's, of course, the Catholic intellectual tradition. And interesting, the Catholic intellectual tradition is focused on the compatibility of faith and reason, which I think is similar to what's happening here with Islamic thought and education and reason, and fosters meaningful dialogue directed towards the flourishing of human culture. When I get to yours, you'll see some of these themes. The dignity in each person, diverse community, and then this last one, personal attention. This gets back to the education part. We foster a caring culture that supports the well-being of each member. So right now, one of our emphasis and part of this new Opus way of thinking is really talking about how do we educate the whole person? How do we go beyond just here's the knowledge or here's the skills to really think about how do we develop the whole person to go forth into the world and have impact? So I've included the direct words from Bahasa Indonesia and your vision, creating a better world through postgraduate education and superior research. We both have this goal of a better world. That's to me part of what education should be about. When I get to your mission, providing superior postgraduate education, that's the part that we're going to talk the most about. This is superior education, developing innovative research, contributing to the development of science, public welfare. That's kind of similar in some ways to our common good, advancing Indonesian Islamic culture as part of world civilization. So We have the Catholic intellectual tradition. You have the Indonesian Islamic culture, or as I heard Pak Rector talk about kind of finding the middle way. So our focus is going to be on this top one. There is do you guys ever watch TED Talks? Yes. So there's a famous TED Talk now. Gosh, I don't know how old it is. It's from before COVID, I'm pretty sure. Start with why. And for me, I like to start with the mission because that's the why. That's why we are in education. That's our purpose. Okay. And then we move from why to the how. To me, so we're in education as and have a mission as our purpose, but the how in this case is also our teaching methods, our pedagogy, the methods by which we deliver learning outcomes. And the what gets to be what are those learning outcomes? And that might be if it's education or economics or social studies or Islamic studies, that gets to be the what. But I like going back to simple frameworks that allow us to kind of bring things to mind easily. I think a lot of what I'm teaching here is none of it is what I would call rocket science. It's all pretty good thinking, good practice. But if I come up with these little frameworks, it helps us remember to pause and do these things. So start with why. So the mission is our why, our how, the teaching, the what leads to the impact we hope to see back to our why. So the how plus the what. So the academic excellence is from our convictions, providing superior education that approach. But the goal, hopefully, is that you see the similarities and parallels and kind of draw them for here at UIII or as education students wherever your career takes you. Okay. So we have an approach to education or pedagogy and curriculum development at the university level, and then I'll talk about the college level. So when I was reflecting on our beautiful train ride to Yogyakarta, I was thinking about how do I tell the story of what we do in terms of pedagogy. So before I jump into the pedagogy audit, I'm going to do a little what I call setting the stage. We have a faculty handbook, and our faculty handbook is co-created by faculty and administration. We have a faculty senate that every time there's a change or anything in it, it has to go through the senate and get approval from the whole university community. We're revising it at least once a year, if not more. So, but when I got to St. Thomas, my previous institutions, Duke and University of Pennsylvania, and even Boston University, where I worked after finishing my PhD, the emphasis was on research, and nobody really taught me how to be a good teacher or prioritize teaching as much. It was very research focused. St. Thomas, when I got there, I said, okay, this is where I belong, because the emphasis, teaching is the most important criterion in faculty evaluation. Teaching is what we do. We are a tuition-driven institution. So that's kind of the very top it comes down. And when we do our annual evaluations each year, teaching is right there at the top. That's the first thing we're always talking about. Then we have a university-wide system for student evaluations of teaching. So at the end of every class, every term, every single student completes this. We call it the IDEA evaluation. IDEA is the company that produces the standardized form, essentially, and does the analysis for us. And at the end, so my courses that wrapped up at the end of middle of March, and then my courses that are wrapping up at the beginning of May, I will get all those evaluations in June to see how I did. So this part isn't rocket science at all. Comes back out, you say, okay, excellent teacher, excellent course, great. That gets to some of the how and a little bit of the what. But then we get into more on the what, and we have a set of standard learning objectives. And each course gets to go in and say, this is the most important learning objective for my class. This one's moderately important. And then the rest are just kind of there. So for example, I teach business. I'm not teaching people how to play the violin. So certain things won't apply, or I'm not teaching people how to do, divide cells in biology. But so we have standardized objectives, and then in my course, I pick which ones I care about. And then we get the reports from every course that we've taught for the previous semester, and we can see how we did. I guess the pointer's not working. We get a raw score. This is truly the average of what the student said. And I moved it back. There we go. And then we get an adjusted one that says, for our institution, is this high or low? Okay. But it allows me to go in and say, okay, so in my emerging technology and business class, I didn't do as well as I would have liked in developing creative capacity. And now this isn't the music creative capacity. This is solving problems with emerging technology, being creative in how we solve problems. So it allows me to do some continuous improvement. Okay. So my university's emphasis, and I'm right there with them, is on continuous improvement. This idea that we start with, well, in this case, I've developed a course, I've implemented that design of the course and how I deliver it. And then at the end of every term, it gets assessed. Okay. I get those results. I analyze it, what worked, what didn't work. There's also open-ended feedback. And from that, I can say, now, how do I want to improve my course again? My university is more concerned in the reporting with my development process and implementing improvements than they are in the raw scores. So it's always focused on this continuous innovation is kind of our driving goal. And we provide lots of resources to do that. So on the resources side, we have a Center for Faculty Development. This is again at the university level. It supports all faculty. So we have, in addition to full-time faculty, we have a number of adjunct faculty. Everyone can get the support they need to become a better teacher. So I joined St. Thomas. I'm in my 19th year there, and I have learned more through this office, this center. They are constantly offering workshops. They offer one-on-one mentoring. So it's, again, this constant, continuous improvement. So, and this is one of from their goals, aims to cultivate effective pedagogy and promote collaborative learning communities. So this is, you'll start to see this mantra, this ongoing mantra. Okay, then let's see, trying to think through time-wise. I guess when they launched this, I was the faculty director for our part-time MBA program. And through it, I was involved in we had an ad hoc group that was focused on online learning. And through that, I was on a team that helped create the St. Thomas e-learning and research center. So obviously at that time, we were just getting into the digitization of teaching, the online delivery. And so I was a part of that. I helped hire on the hiring committee for the first leader of Stellar and for our first instructional designer. But now we have a team of instructional designers that are experts in pedagogy and experts in what is a really good, especially online student experience, but also in-person student experience. So if I have a question, hey, I'm struggling with, creative capacity in my class, how do I address that? They will work with me and say, here's something you might try doing. Let's work with you. Or if I'll say, I want to do this in class, how do I do that digitally through we have Canvas as our learning management system. How do I do that in Canvas? She doesn't just teach me the nuts and bolts. The instructional designer that I work with, and we have a team of them, walks me through the theory of it. What makes most sense? Let's really talk about what's going to be impactful from a student perspective. So we have that as a resource. So that's kind of the hierarchy at the university. We have it as our key criteria for our evaluation. We have the Faculty Development Center, and then we get still more focused on e-learning and now more broadly on education. At the college level, we have, so after being faculty director for part-time MBA, I was an associate dean, but my role was specifically the associate dean for graduate program innovation. And then over time, it just became program innovation, and they kind of dropped the graduate part. So we had a leadership team that was all focused, well, the top, she's focused on everything, right? Budgets, enrollments, donor development, relations in the community. Our associate dean of faculty, if I would say, I talked about that, what, how, why, or why, gosh, no, backwards, start with why. Why, how, what? He was focused on the what. He was focused on what is it that our faculty are teaching, what are our learning goals. My job was to say, how do we innovate in the how? Okay, we had to have a teaching committee that's mostly made up of college faculty, and one instructional designer from Stellar sits on it to give advice and talk to you about how do we partner at the university level. You're going, okay, this is supposed to be on measurement, get to it. One of the pieces that affects our evaluation, we have an external accrediting body. So here you do a lot with the Ministry of Education. For us, we have external accrediting bodies, one with the state of Minnesota, but for business schools, we have something called, well, a continuous improvement report or continuous improvement cycle to be part of an AACSB accredited universities. So it's this international accrediting body, recognizes the highest standard of quality with only 6% of institutions offering business degrees receiving this accreditation. So a lot of what we do is to make sure that we are keeping up with accreditation standards. And I think their standards are pretty good. They're there for a reason. And the part that affects education, well, it all affects education. We're part of a university. But they have a process they call assurance of learning, or we call it AOL for short. And this diagram illustrates it well, and it's similar to what I talked about with this continuous improvement, and they call it a continuous improvement review. By the way, ours at St. Thomas for the College of Business is coming up this coming academic year, so they're doing their pre-visit right now while I'm here. And then they come in September, October, and we'll do their visit. But the idea is we have a set of learning goals that we're trying to meet. That's on the what are we teaching? What are the outcomes we're trying to achieve? And we have this, we call it also a closing the loop process. So we start with our learning goals, and then we come up with how do we want to measure those learning goals? How do we measure the achievement of those learning goals? And then we collect, analyze, and interpret the data. And so we do this part. So this part happens when with the developing the learning goals we have at the college level. When we have new programs, we figure out how to do the measurement here at the program level. We do the collect part every other year. But we measure 2 goals one year and another 2 goals the next year. And then in the off year, once we've got to the analysis and interpretation of the data, then we move into the continuous improvement. How are we going to change what we teach or how we teach to make sure that students are hitting that level of excellence that we are searching for? And then we call it closing the loop. Once we know what to do, then we have to go implement that, and then it's ready for the next measurement cycle again. So Michael Garrison, our Associate Dean of Faculty, on the what side. We have, these are our 4 overarching goals that are in every program we have in the business school. So your business acumen, this is, do you understand finance, accounting, marketing, economics, all those fundamental topics. But then the other 3 really get to, some people call them soft skills. I really think of them as sharp skills, things that sharpen our ability to have impact in the world. Okay, so ethical reasoning, critical thinking, and leadership. So we are assessing business acumen and critical thinking, for example, this year, and next year we're assessing ethical reasoning and leadership. And then this year we're doing the improvement and closing the loop on ethical reasoning and leadership so that we can start to implement those new tactics in the fall before we measure at the end of the spring. So that's one. So this is, again, kind of before we get to the pedagogy audit, just more ways that we're focused on curriculum and continuous improvement in education. Okay, we're going to dig more now into what I do, the parts that I've built or have gotten excited about doing. So this continuous improvement model goes along with continuous innovation. We have an approach that says we can't just revise a program once and say, okay, we're done. Well, let's put it on hold for 10 years and come back to it. Then it was, okay, we'll make it every 6 years. And now it's, no, we've got to be assessing continuously and improving continuously. So one of my first charges as Associate Dean for Graduate Program Innovation was to change and launch some new teaching formats. So we had blended course delivery, which is instead of students, our programs are mostly working professionals that come to class in the evenings, okay? So we switched from meeting once a week for 3 hours to meeting once every other week for 3 hours. And on the off week, we're doing more online content. So we switched to this blended format. Then we had, everything was a full semester, 14 weeks, and we talked about in the curriculum and said, you know, some courses really only need 7 weeks. We need a half a semester. But that was a whole different teaching format. This is you don't come in the first day and explain the syllabus and then the next day get them going. You've got to be ready to jump into content on day 1 when you've only got 7 3-hour class sessions. So that was a new format. Professor plus professional delivery format. So being a school focused on practice of business, we have a format that says co-teach. So, well, we have adjuncts that will come in and teach a single course because it's their area of expertise, that's a pretty demanding job. And they aren't always, I mean, a lot of people that are really good at their jobs in the real world, as we say, don't want to take the time to come and teach a course and all the grading. I mean, one thing we say, I teach for free, they pay me to grade. I mean, being an adjunct is a lot of work. So we have this new format called Professor plus Professional, where the professor does, I set up the course, the course learning objectives, the Canvas website, I do all the grading, I handle all the student inquiries, but I partner on the content and delivery with a professional from the real world. So, for example, I partnered with a gentleman named Craig Herkert, who at that time had just stepped down from being CEO of a grocery store in town called SuperValue. And before that, he was CEO of Walmart Americas. So he had some credentials that we would never get him full-time to teach a course. But okay, come in and teach this with me. So we co-taught a course. Great. I'm doing it again right now with someone who works in financial technology, and we're bringing a group of students to Seoul and Tokyo focused on digital transformation. She's living it every day. I teach it. So, and then we eventually got to a fully online